For anyone who hasn't seen episode 7 of Murder Drones, this video will contain spoilers if the thumbnail and title hasn't spoiled it already. However, there will be more spoilers in the video, so I do suggest that you watch the episode before you watch this video. As you know, at the end or towards the end of episode 7 of Murder Drones, we get the very surprising reveal that Tessa isn't actually Tessa. But what exactly is quote-unquote possessing Tessa's body? Now, I'm going to start off straight off the bat. It's definitely Sin. Not the absolute solver, it is just Sin. Sin and the absolute solver, although being heavily connected, aren't actually the same person or thing. Although Sin is basically just a code name or just a nickname for the absolute solver, Sin is also referred to the body that the absolute solver first originated in. It seems that what we can gather from the end of episode 7, Sin somehow possessed or encased her own body with Tessa's skin. Boy, and I thought cannibalism in episode 4 was going to be enough. However, there are some more details I have chose to include in this video, so stick around if you want to know exactly why Sin went into Tessa's body, and overall diving into the Solvessa character itself. First, let's dive into why. Towards the middle of episode 7 of Murder Drones, we get to see Tessa, or Solvessa, as I will be calling this abomination of a character, having to use a fingerprint to bypass security locks on the list of infected drones. Now, I could just end this segment of why here, however, I want to dive in more into Sin as a character. Sin was the first host of the Absolute Solver, therefore probably the Absolute Solver itself. Now, I don't know what I'm about to say is actually canon or is disproven by other Reddit posts I missed or something. Feel free to comment down below anything I've missed. However, what I'm about to say is technically my own headcanon. We know that the Absolute Solver is the base AI, the artificial intelligence that is filtered through a worker OS to give its worker a personality and knowing what to do. For example, the Absolute Solver, or the code for the AI, is circulated through a sort of filter that results in a cute and heartwarming personality such as N. However, as we were explained by the tape at the beginning of episode 5 of Murder Drones, we were able to see a phenomenon called zombie drones. This phenomenon or anomaly happens when a worker drone is improperly disposed of, and although this is a very small chance of happening, they could accidentally reboot without their worker OS. Without their worker OS, they can't filter out the raw AI code. And although this is a very, very small chance of happening, it still happened or else we wouldn't have the show. This resulted in Sin or the Absolute Solver, whichever one you prefer to use. I'm just going to say Sin for simplicity. Without the worker OS, Sin didn't really have a personality or anything to filter out the bad data it is given, such as a worker drone being spiked in the head with a fork for accidentally messing up the silverware. This caused Sin to see the humans along with the other worker drones as below her in a social hierarchy of sorts. Now, this segment is getting a bit long, so I'll try to wrap it up in the next 30 seconds. Here we go. Sin got pissed off at the entire human race after seeing how cruel they are. Sin then results to massacring the entirety of Tessa's family. Sin keeps Tessa alive, however, because she was the only human, at least at the manor or mansion or whatever you want to call it, who was actually a decent person. At least to a certain point where, you know, the whole skinwalker stealing skin stuff happens. You could argue that it had to happen pretty close to Solvessa's arrival on Copper 9 because of bodies rotting when they are dead. However, this is the future, so I don't know how plausible that is. But also considering the fact that Uzi said matter can be pulled out of thin air, and the entire show proceeds to pull matter out of quite literally thin air. So I don't know anymore. You say whatever you want. I don't really care. It doesn't affect this theory that much. So Sin decides to take Tessa's skin, not only because it will bypass the security codes on the list of infected drones, but also because of a point I actually forgot to mention, so I will mention now. There are plenty of points in the show where we can see Sin mimicking Tessa's movements or just personality or choices. Sin looked up to Tessa as a sort of role model, seeing her as someone that she wanted to quite literally be. This would make sense that she specifically chose Tessa's body to inhabit, because she always wanted to be Tessa. And also with the whole AI filtering thing, it's still looking for something to build a personality off of, which Tessa was right there, so I guess it started to do that. However, until that becomes a very important part of the story, that's just all my headcanon and not too important. Just so that we're on the same page, I had to tell you. The whole summary of what I just said is that Sin chose to be in Tessa's body for 2 reasons. To bypass any security she met along the way that would require a human fingerprint, and she specifically chose Tessa's body instead of any other high-ranking authority in in the JC Jensen company because she always wanted to be like Tessa. Why not be quite literally Tessa? There's also the small reason that it might be able to trick the other murder drones into believing and trusting her, but that seems kind of obvious, so I didn't make it a big part of this video. Big shout out to Cartoon Universe, who is a significantly larger channel than me, however did provide the walking ground or structure of this entire theory, so thanks. Now that's pretty much this entire theory. I will be posting another video later this week, so make sure you stay posted for that by subscribing. Stay tuned, and I'll see you next time.